So I had the hardest time in the world trying to get to as many people as possible who are still alive to participate. I tried Glenn Keane, I've tried Jody Benson, I've tried Sherry Stoner, I've tried John Musker, Ron Clements, I've tried Alan Menken, I've tried
Have you tried your family? Because I sure
Barnhart.
did.
I've tried Fallon Barnhart, but they all just couldn't do it. They couldn't respond, or maybe they just were too busy, or the schedules and stuff. No, instead
Yeah, you're trying
I
too hard for
go
the
with
A-listers, buddy.
one of the film's animators. Ladies, meet Nik Ranieri. He's one of the animators on Roger Rabbit who was transferred to the Little Mermaid after the success on Roger Rabbit to partake in the animation on the big bad Ursula, who is the first Disney character in history to have her appearance based off a drag queen.
Well, we're honored to have you, Nik. It may not sound like it, but we are.
Oh, thank you.
I get an associate's degree for graphic arts, so I know how this business does.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And yeah,
Okay, so we are now at the point in Disney history where the Renaissance begins. And this is a significant moment because not only are you going to go back to what somehow made Disney great to begin with the little classic tale adaptations and stuff, but going forward, the direction of that the Disney films were about to take was about to change forever, and in order for animation to continue to thrive and as a art form, the stories themselves had to change with the times. So what you end up having is you are writing females who are more daring, more captivating, more expressive, more spunky, more of anything that with a more three-dimensional touch to it. And the guys also get the three-dimensional treatment, but they're like that kind of person who has a hard time talking with girls at high school or something like that. And
Yeah, like you, Jordan.
well, I never really had a girlfriend in high school, so I can't really relate that hard. I can relate, but not on the same level. So I believe this particular anime feature didn't really start with the success of Roger Rabbit. It actually started like along with the new management comes in. Somehow one point Jeffrey Katzenberg, who's now newly appointed as a feature film appointee at head of Disney, he gets a call from his friend saying, "Hey, Jeffrey, I don't really, I hear that you're now gonna start to try to assemble the mouse again or something like that. You want to assemble Disney. So I think I might have something that could help you here. I appear to have like a what I could call a songwriting team. Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. You may have heard of them. They worked on the off-Broadway hit The Little Shop of Horrors. One of them
Wait a minute.
one of them's pretty interested about trying to get one of them's pretty interested about this animation thing. So why don't you go ahead and give them a try out, and let's see how things go with the way you do things at Disney over there. I was like, okay, any hands
Yeah,
up?
thank you, phone guy.
Yeah, so Howard Ashman just was really jumping at this opportunity because he honestly felt music and animation went together hand in hand. He jumped into this opportunity because he also knew that he was looking for a fresh change. A musical called Smile just crashed and burned on Broadway, like a flop or something. So but he didn't really have like the world's best upbringing. He was Jewish. He was kind of worked in children's theater. He had had peculiar childlike interest. He was homosexual, and he really injected his life as much as he could into the story of how these films were going to go. And you can thank Howard Ashman for being the guy who made Sebastian Jamaican.
Oh.
Pretty much.
So,
You know,
yeah.
So is this the part where the interview begins?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. So, so just to let you know, first question, Nick. When did you guys suddenly start to see that this project, The Little Mermaid, was different from like past Disney projects like Oliver and Company or Gospel Detective, Fox and the Hound, Rescuers, or anything that we're doing?
So to recap the question to Nick, I mean, Dorian wants to know, have you saw anything about the project, the Mermaid that you were doing that you know was going to be like significant to like say the past 5 to 10 films of the fully animated features from Disney?
yeah, I could say that. I could say basically when I was working on Roger Rabbit in London, Andreas gave me a cassette tape of the songs of The Little Mermaid. And so I listened to them, and they were pretty well realized by then. They had final mix, final voices and performers on them. And I was very surprised at how good the songs were. And because up until then, I would say maybe, Jungle Book, and a couple of selections throughout the 70s and 80s, one or two. Other than those, the music was pretty bad in a lot of that 70s and 80s stuff. And this was the first time that I heard the songs from Mermaid, and I thought, wow, these are actually good. This could really be a good movie because these are really solid musical pieces. They're if you look at something like American Tail, it's got one good song in it, and no one really sings it. Well, actually, no, that's not true. They do sing it, but Somewhere Out There is probably the only good song. All the rest of them stink, as far as I'm concerned. And but so good quality songs throughout the entire production is something that, like I said, hasn't really happened until since say Jungle Book, right? So when I first heard the music, that was my first inkling that this is a special movie, and I really wanted to work on it. So I made an effort to, after Roger was done, to fly out to LA and see if I can't get a job at the studio.
Oh, this is Disney. If you can't make it there, you can't make it anywhere and stuff.
Hey, Julia, your visuals are off.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, my husband got locked out, so I had to run down and get him.
Oh yeah. Okay, so so somehow during the production process, you were assigned under Ruben Aquino to animate the big bad Ursula. Let me guess. Did you by any chance rent Jacques Cousteau videos in order to get a better idea as to how these octopuses and other sea creatures moved in order to make a more realistic moving undersea creature?
Well,
Yeah, he does make a good question. I mean, even Disney would have like their own archives of nature documentaries as well.
yeah, I mean, I think I looked at some reference. I first of all, I was put on Ariel, and I really wasn't a good fit for me. So I asked them if I could switch, and they said, "Well, we'll put you on, like you said, Ruben Aquino's character. We'll put him on Ursula, which was a much better fit because the character is a little bit easier to draw than Ariel." And so, because I've been drawing rabbits for the last year, so this was a good fit for me, and I was able to work on her and use what had been done, because I came in halfway through. The picture was already running for like 6 months by the time I got there. So there's all this animation work that Ruben did, and Rob Minkoff, and people like that. They did all these tentacle animation and things like that I took a look at, and I mean, pretty much tentacles. You watch one video of an octopus, you kind of get the idea. All right. So once I saw it, I thought, okay, I kind of get the idea, and it's kind of a squishy sort of octopus type character. And yeah, so a lot of the stuff I did at the beginning though was headshots, close-ups, so I didn't have to deal too much with the tentacles. Although in the song I did have a couple of shots with her flying around the cauldron and things like that. So I did have my share of tentacles to animate, but they worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that the original voice actor for Ursula, she keeps calling her a squid because there's only like 6 tentacles in the character instead of 8.
Well, I think that was more due to just they sort of downsized the amount of tentacles just because it was easier to draw and easier to control, and it was more for budgeting reasons than it was for trying to differentiate between a squid and an octopus. I think it's more budgetary concerns than anything.
Well, this was.
I'm sorry, Pixar faced the same difficulties with Hank and Finding Dory. I mean, technically he's a septopus.
Well, I just want to let you know that contrary to Roger Rabbit's rather expensive $75 million budget, Little Mermaid was only capped at $40 million in the budget, and I think if you had gone with all eight of the tentacles, it probably would have gone up even more. So you couldn't really afford to have a production that was more expensive than Roger Rabbit, because now we're working on a full animated feature, and
well, I don't think it would cost an extra 40 million just to add a couple more tentacles, but
I know
they trim where they can. So
yeah, as best you could. Yeah. So as an extra bonus, Glenn Keane was really motivated just to do Ariel after he heard Jodie Benson sing "Part of Your World," and Jodie Benson still sings that song like every week. And also to let you know, right there. All right. Also, the appearance of Ariel was based around Alyssa Milano and the person that they've got to do live action reference for Ariel, Sherry Stoner, who came in from a comedy club. and
Yeah,
was,
Sherry Stoner. Isn't she like the slappy squirrel in Animaniacs?
yes, yes, she is. Hi, it's Slappy. What's for breakfast? Exactly. It's the same woman, and she had the right appearance to get the live action reference for Glenn to successfully animate Ariel, and much of it was
Talk
shot
about the
by-
abhorrence of body language, huh?
it was shot around a little tiny little green screen room soundstage bit or something like that. It wasn't like a real elaborate set or anything like that, but they shot what
green
they
screen.
could, and they were able to get the hair flowing, the expressions of the eyes. It seemed like she looked pretty good in that particular study, because the other sisters of Ariel had some recycled appearances from other female characters. As you can see, one of the sisters of Ariel has an appearance similar to that of one of the stepsisters in Cinderella.
I was gonna guess Snow White.
I don't know about that. Those were all drawn by Sean Keller. I think he just drew, designed these girls. Probably, maybe he was influenced by some of those, but I don't think he actually went back and drew, copied from previous, characters or anything. I think he just tried to hit the same style just drew them the way he draws them. He's pretty wacky guy, so I'm not sure if he was responsible for the designs, although I wouldn't doubt it, because he's a pretty good draftsman. So I don't think they were necessarily based on any other characters. I think that type of facial design kind of is reminiscent of some of those older characters, but I think they're pretty original, as far as I know.
Yeah, I guess you need a real good, talented people to make this film possible, and I just want to let you know that Sherry, when Sherry is the one who had to model that classic shot of Ariel just coming up like this on a rock, and then a wave bursts out from behind her. I mean, that shot is like cinematic perfection, and a lot of kids, girls and boys, and anyone have been doing that at the side of the pools ever since they were kids.
And does that include you, Jordan? Because I don't remember doing it myself.
Well, I kind of did sometimes. What about you, Julia?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely played a lot of mermaids in my pool. Definitely did the Ariel moment. I think maybe not everyone, Sarah, but I don't think your hair would do quite the whip, Sarah.
I know, because Cher's hair is a little shorter, yeah. So, according to the documentary "Waking Sleeping Beauty," Jeffrey Katzenberg did a test screening of the movie, which was in storyboard and sketch, and it was reported that he felt that part of your world was not connecting with the audience, and he felt he wanted to cut their number out. Yet
That sounds like something you might do, Jordan.
directors John Musker and Ron Clements, Howard Ashman's like, no, I won't let you do that. I'm over my dead body, okay? So, and according to the documentary, Glenn Keane somehow was able to convince Jeffrey Katzenberg that he couldn't cut this. It's pretty much Ariel's dream, and that would mess around with the character. Now, how does someone verbally argue with someone who has all the power in the world to prevent people from seeing something that is profoundly beautiful and profoundly made in the best intentions possible, and then fire you and then send you out the door and send you crying home to mama.
Yeah, it sounds like the similar arguments we will have between us when we do cartoons, Jordan.
Oh yeah.
How, what do you mean fire you and send you out the door? Who
Yeah,
did
he's overacting. I'm telling you, he tends to go Jeffrey on these things.
I mean, Jeffrey was very into audience reactions, and he would watch and sit in the back, and if kids started to get restless or shift in their seats, he would make notes and say, we gotta get this thing moving a bit because they're getting restless and we can't have them do that. So I think during the song, and again, the song wasn't even animated, it was just in storyboards, so it didn't have all the bells and whistles. So Glenn had to convince them that, yeah, it's going to look great when it's all done, and you just gotta, this is animation, you've gotta trust that the song is really good, and the visuals are going to be good, and you gotta trust your filmmakers. And so I'm glad, glad he did that, and allowed the process to work.
Yeah, trust the process. Even Dan Pavamar knows that.
He's the guy who created Phineas and Ferb, and it was while he was kind of like doing a promotional run for this particular film, Jeffrey Katzenberg felt like he had the decision to declare that this was a renaissance for the artists, and we have a unique cast here. It's not just Jodie Benson, but we have Samuel E. Wright as Sebastian. We have Kenneth Mars as King Triton. We have Pat Carroll as Ursula, and we have Buddy Hackett as Skull. Buddy Hackett was a little bit his not in his prime at this particular point in time, but this was not the first Disney project he worked on. Matter of fact, he played Tennessee Steinmetz in The Love Bug, starring Dean Jones, and about a VW Beetle that has a mind of its own.
Herbie.
Yep. That's the one. So now he's here voicing an animated Disney character in what is considered to be a great classic loved by many people, including Julia. Yeah, so
Really, Julia, you admit to this?
I don't know, I just admit.
I admitted to loving The Little Mermaid.
But what did you or did you not?
I did love The Little Mermaid.
I figured so.
I loved The Little Mermaid.
I don't know. It's just one of those things I kind of suspect that I know a lot of people on the internet are like, yeah, this is a great Disney film. This is something I like. This is something I really enjoy and stuff. So while
I had a Little Mermaid Barbie doll that her hair changed color in the bathtub, and it went from like light red to dark red when it went in the warm water, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh man, that is awesome. So just to let you know, wait, this film finally got done and was premiered at was it the El Capitan Theater, or was it a completely different theater? Let me do a double check if I can.
I don't think the El Capitan Theater was renovated yet. I think that was before. Wasn't that before they renovated? They bought it and renovated that thing.
I know Disney does their premieres at the El Capitan Theater.
Yeah, but this was 1989.
I know.
I'm I remember when I was living in LA, I remember them Disney buying the El Capitan Theater and renovating it and all that. And then it became the theater where they screened all their stuff. And Beauty and the Beast was screened there. So I wasn't sure. I'm not sure exactly when it was, if it was before Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid was one of the first to, premiere there, or if it was just after that. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I know I know an ideal place to hold premieres is either LA or New York, but the Little Mermaid did premiere, and it made quite a splash at the box office, raking in $253 million worldwide. And Roger and Cisco and Ebert, they gave this like a 2 thumbs up, I believe. And Roger Ebert was like, even as the Reagan years are coming to an end, the 80s, we have an indication that animation is alive and well. And I have nothing but compliments for this film. And he even praised the different direction that this film took with its heroine, rather than just, like being, I don't know, like Snow White or Cinderella or Aurora, but
being like a transliterated character.
something like that. I don't know.
That makes sense.
And well, it proved to be so successful that Disney was like, you know what? We shouldn't hold this in a vault. People feel like they actually want to have it in their homes right now. We want to try to capitalize on the success of this film. This is like suddenly a big hit. And one of the papers was like, Disney animation triumphs at last. So given that, they decided they were going to go with put this film out on home video the next year, and it very succeeded, maybe too well. Just to let you know, the VHS for this film was such a success that that somehow a couple of groups noticed that there was a rather disturbing image on the castle of Atlantica in the video cover. So they
Yeah, he's always going through these crazy details. He's so sensitive.
So they kind of banned the cover in some form of capacity. And just to let you know, VHS tapes in this format, in this cover of Little Mermaid VHS tapes in the good condition, they go for thousands on eBay.
Wow. I should have held on to mine then.
Oh man, that's one good investment you can make.
Well, yeah. I heard a lot of things about that. I think I've heard that the guy was bitter because he didn't get paid or something like that, so he painted that thing. But I've also heard that the guy who painted it said, I just painted a castle. It's people they see what they want to see. I didn't paint anything like that on purpose. It was just, they see what they want to see. It's like, the Lion King and the Lion King and the dust and all that. It's dumb, a lot of that stuff. There's only been like 1 or 2 things that are actually intentional that people claim. And the Lion King one is kind of it's a special effects joke, right?
Well, I actually have that original VHS of The Lion King, and it appears that Disney felt like they could just relish in their sudden success. Of course, some of the people at the upper management, Peter Schneider and stuff, they felt like he felt that there could be some way to get better resources into these animated films now that we suddenly have two anime hits, one that's live action animated, one that's just straight up animated. And this was at the point where the winds of change were starting to blowing. As a matter of fact, the last sequence of this film, the one where Ariel and Eric get married on the boat and stuff, and they all and the mermaids all
they all live happily ever after.
Yes, that's exactly. That was testing ground for something that Disney was gonna be using for the rest of their movies. It essentially what Peter Schneider and Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg felt like they wanted to do was to take the ink and paint and cell process out of the animation equation and do that digitally instead. And the system that they used was called CAPS. So going forward, Hollywood was about to change. So next week, Disney makes Hollywood's first ever all digital movie.
Which
Okay,
was?
so do you have any additional questions for Nik?
Well, how about this? Do you ever get people who talk to you today and feel like they were amazed at what you've accomplished in the Little Mermaid and what scenes you've done, what they did with the climax and how they does anyone ever tell you that the way Prince Eric uses the boat to stab the giant Ursula, it feels like it's just lifted straight out of Jaws 4, The Revenge? This time it's personal.
Yeah, that's kind of a stretch. It's so funny because they when I got onto the picture, and then I was working on the Ursula unit for about a month, they had a meeting in the screening room, and they call all the Ursula animators and people like that to come into the screening room, and I was invited. And I was like, what is this? So we sat down, and a whole bunch of them, and the directors and everyone that were there, story people, and they were running the end, and they didn't know what to do with the end. They had no idea. They knew they needed her to, Ursula to suffer a terrible fate, but they didn't know how to do it, and so they just asked for suggestions. So we're sitting around, and everybody is like, suggesting some sort of like magic or something like that. But it was just the most bizarre thing I've ever been involved in, because I thought, how could they not know how to end this film? I mean, it's like a major Hollywood picture. You think they'd have the whole thing all figured out by now, but they didn't. And so we're talking about, they think they wanted her to grow big, but they weren't sure what to do with it and how to kill her off. That she's so big, and then other people were making jokes like, oh, she gets so big that her head goes outside of the atmosphere and she suffocates. And funny things like that, and I just like, oh, okay. I mean, I think they came up with the whole ship thing in that meeting, bringing the ship around and stabbing her and stuff like that. But and once they figured it out, the meeting was over, and they went back to the story department, and they pitched the whole thing, and it pretty much is the way you saw it, but it was a bizarre sort of meeting. Especially why I was there, I don't know. I just got to the studio, a few months earlier, and so it was weird. But
You would think that they would have the ending sorted out, like they wouldn't need to just pull for it.
right.
How
But they
How-
were still having like, a lot of time, even with, the short budget and timing and stuff to like workshop on a lot of creative development. I mean, I heard that Ursula was originally going to be like a lionfish-like character, right?
Well, again, all that stuff was pre-production development stuff. I wasn't around for that, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what their plan was for that, and it's a shame they never made a Little Mermaid book. But
You mean like for like an art of the Little Mermaid kind of thing? Because I
Yeah,
had seen
yeah.
something similar Disney book like that in high school
yeah,
one time.
I think it's so interesting because there's certain films that really could have benefited from an art of book, and Mermaid being one of the first major hits. I mean, initially, people said, "Oh, Disney was doing horribly until a Mermaid came along," but that's not true. I mean, stupid, the Sherlock Holmes thing, Basil,
Great Mouse Detective. That we always
Great Mouse Detective came out, and it was a moderately successful film, but it only did in the 20s, 20 million or something like that. And then, of course, when what was it? American Tail came out. It did like 45 million, and that was like, oh, no one's going to be able to touch that. And then Oliver and Company came out and did 54 million, and then after that, Mermaid came out, did 87 million. So I mean, it was a gradual rise as people started to recognize that animated films were something special, and so it took a dip with Rescuers Down Under, but that was due to poor promotion.
Yeah, I think we'll be talking about that in the next meeting. That's what Jordan was hinting at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nick,
So
on the last few months, kind of reliving the whole Little Mermaid thing with all of the new production.
I haven't seen the new production. I've seen clips. I have no interest in watching that.
I'm not.
There's a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, hey, better not be any ethic issues are gonna be throwing at. I mean, there used to be a time in the production where they thought all mermaids had to be blonde.
Yeah,
Has
because
nothing to do with ethnicity.
because they thought there was gonna be, but then they couldn't do it because Splash was somehow kind of a hit or something like that. They couldn't do Splash again because Splash had already been done. So, so they decided to make Little Ariel a redhead, and it actually benefited for them because there's a
definitely compliments with the green fin color.
No,
That's
something like that. But there's another reason. It's to reflect her fiery and strong-willed personality.
I kind of in agreement with I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but
Jordan?
no, her,
Sarah.
the one that held up the sculpture.
That's
That was
Sarah.
Sarah.
That's actually a kid's meal toy. I saw the gold
Yeah, sorry.
sign on the back.
So basically, there were color choices they had to make, and the red and the green are complementary colors, so they worked well. And so that was one of the reasons why they did redhead. Seemed to work in Peter Pan and all that. But I was going to say something.
About the new production, maybe?
Oh, yeah. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has nothing to do with that. I think they just changed the motivation of the character, and what I've heard about it, you know, she her reasons for wanting to be human or reasons for trading her voice are not there anymore. And so it's kind of, why is
Yeah.
she doing this again? You know, so I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, and it's all in, you know, in answer to whatever
Whatever people that they try
oh,
to
you know, she
claim
doesn't
and
need a
stuff.
man to complete her and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I don't. The crab is ugly. The bird is ugly. The fish is ugly. You know,
Yeah.
I yeah. I really
I'm curious.
nothing really did. I had no desire to actually see it. I never saw the Aladdin one. I saw the Beauty and the Beast one. It didn't make a big impression on me. You know, the characters, they gave all the, you know, funny stuff to LeFou, and the objects just were nothing. So I mean,
Well, it's a good thing you're in the animation club right now. We're all fans of animation, so you
yeah.
won't.
Yeah, because we're not exactly the world's greatest with live action, even though I sometimes feel that there are certain specialties you can get with live action when you combine an actor with a puppet or some very cute character, but then you go for super realism, and it kind of gets into a territory known as the uncanny valley. And to me, when you do something in animation, you can make it look cuter, you can make it look more expressive, and you can make it look any possible way you want to. And that's probably the reason why we really love animation, and we feel it's a little more economically feasible, and in some cases crisis proof to pull off animation. I mean, given today's technology, we can definitely pull off animation in case there's another crisis that ever happens. I don't know, but only time will tell. So we are gonna look at Hollywood's first ever all digital movie, and it's a very significant moment in history, because it's like I don't know, it's like the invention of sound.
But that is, you know, he putting a high bar up there. So
Yeah, not quite. I mean, Caps is like, it's a good tool. People still had to paint, only they just painted digitally. That's all.
Yeah.
And they had some problems with it. So, you know, that's why, you know, you won't see any cells or anything. They kind of killed the cell market, I guess, a little bit because of that. But you know, that's progress.
Yeah, I know. Because people can draw. Look at Sarah; she's doing the aerial with the fork in the hair.
it's called the Dinkle Hopper.
Dingle hopper, yes.
Well,
Oh,
hey guys,
man.
I unfortunately have to go, but Nick, thank you so much. It was so interesting hearing all the insight from one of my favorites. I appreciate you coming to talk to us. It was awesome.
Well, you're welcome. And yeah, it was nice to meet you. And
Yes, lovely to meet.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, but before you go, Nick, I mean, do have one more question. Yeah, just something. It's a bit of a creative question, but something I like to get for like animators. Like, you know, what's like the weirdest thing you ever done for animation?
the weirdest thing I've ever done in animation. It does have to be animation related, or is it just on any of the pictures? Because the weirdest thing I ever done was live action reference for Jafar and Hades. That's got to be the weirdest thing.
Weirdest how?
The what?
Weirdest how? How was it weird for you?
Yeah. And I think because I was Jafar, and I had to. There's that one scene where Jasmine grabs him and kisses him. So I had to do that. It was kind of awkward. But that was kind of weird. And then I did the live action for Hades as well. But again, these were not live action references. I was just a stand-in for the character. The real live action reference was Jasmine and Aladdin, or Hercules and Meg. All the other people were just there so that these actors could play off of something. It wasn't just playing off of nothing. So I was sort of a stand-in for it, but I tried to play it to the best of my ability when I was on camera. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
But
Sarah.
but other than that, I ran the gamut, as far as doing unusual, strange characters. I got to do a whole mess of different characters and different personalities. I mean, they all had one sort of through line, which was comedy. I always liked doing the comedic characters. I was just fortunate enough to do characters that were villains and heroines and sidekick animal characters, pantomime characters, main male leads and things like that, but they were all sort of funny, quirky type characters. So I cannot complain about my time at Disney, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
was hoping
something to
that
be
my sister
treasured.
Jackie would come over here to see you. I mean, yeah, she was born the year Little Mermaid came out, and yeah, she and the children that actually caught up with the film on the drive up here, and I mean, they're from their pool party, which is such an inconvenient
Oh,
timing.
check out that picture.
Very cool.
Yeah. I remember showing that picture to Pat Carroll. I gave it as a gift to her. I went over to her house when she lived on up in the Hollywood Hills there. I went over there and I said, the only person's missing in this picture is you. She says, I would have loved to have been a part of it, but no one asked me. So from then on, I made sure every actor that I worked with, I made sure that I got them to take a picture, and and that's why I did.
Aw.
Oh, you took a picture with Buddy Hackett. That's awesome.
Oh, that's not Buddy Hackett. That's John Kennedy.
Oh, I'm so sorry. He's also a legend.
I did get a picture with Buddy Hackett several years later. One of the Howard Green, the guy who was publicity, he used to have lunch with Buddy Hackett. So he invited a bunch of us to go over and have lunch with Buddy Hackett and his favorite, I don't know, greasy spoon. So we went over. This was like early 2000s, and so we went over and had lunch with Buddy Hackett at his favorite place, and that was kind of cool to talk with him. And then I think we got a picture. I got a picture somewhere of him. I'm not sure if I think I may have put it on my Facebook, my Nik Ranieri animator Facebook page, but I'm not sure if I did or not. But anyways, it was great to meet him. But him, James Woods, all these other different people, I made sure I got pictures with them.
Yeah.
Because I miss Pat Carroll. But then I didn't set up the picture, so I just
So it
showed up
wasn't your
for
fault.
it. So
I know.
right, it was right. So,
Alright. Well, I will talk to you guys later. Keep going if you want to, but I've got to drop. Thanks again.
nice
Bye.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go soon too.